Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Kemp Powers has turned his groundbreaking first play, One Night in Miami, into one of the most talked about films of the season. It is helmed by first-time film director, Oscar winner Regina King. And I caught up with Kemp to talk about his amazing journey from stage to screen. What did telling the story through the play and then the film mean to you personally?
Well, I mean, telling it as a play was honestly a dream come true because, I've been a lifelong fan of theater. I grew up going to theater, and it was about telling a story on stage that jokingly told people the audience was myself at 18 or 19 years old. I just wanted to see characters that I could relate to, and I was pleasantly surprised by how well the play was received in the places that it was produced. For the film, I wanted to capture, honestly, a lot of the same themes of the play, but I knew that the structure of it wouldn't work. So it was about reimagining and trying and figuring out what story I could use to tell a story to still nail the same themes of the play, but tell it in a cinematic way. So it was a very different set of challenges, and my hope for that was just to pull it off. But thank God, because you have a wonderful cast and a leader like Regina. I think we did.
All right, let's talk about collaborating with Regina King. I mean, this is her first directorial film debut. The film is seamless and flawless. What was it like collaborating with her?
Oh, it was really a joy. I mean, I tell people, like, I've talked to screenwriters and told them, like, my experience is not a typical screenwriter experience when it comes to One Night in Miami. Often writers are kind of like they take the script and the next thing you know, you see it when it's in theaters. Regina was the opposite. She wanted me there. That's why I ended up becoming an executive producer. I was there for casting. I was there on set for weeks at a time. We had wonderful conversations late into the night about the story and the themes of the story and ways to improve it, ways to make it clear. And Regina is just so warm and giving. And I couldn't have come up with a better situation as a writer, especially adapting my own work. When I finished the script, I had every expectation that another writer would come on later and then rewrite that, and that's what would get shot. But it was Regina who was saying, "What are you talking about? You're the writer. I want you to be the one on set. I want you to help me tell this story." And that was really awesome. It was a great experience for me.
Okay, being on the set, I mean, the casting of this film is flawless also. I mean, there you were, but you were in the room with the guys. If they had a question, they would ask you. What was it like working with them? It's got to be mind-blowing, the cast you put together.
Yeah, I mean, it was again, I was there from the auditions, and you see things coming together, especially with chemistry reads. The guys didn't know each other, and we didn't really have rehearsal time. So there's always a bit of nervousness, like, are these folks going to gel? But it's just a credit to just their diligence, their professionalism, that they just landed their lines, they landed their parts, they became protective of these characters. The guys that they were playing, they became stewards of them, and they brought that into every single scene. And it was really kind of a joy to behold. Understand, this was an independently shot film, so we didn't have a lot of time. So it wasn't like nights were like hanging out. We would have long days, and people would go home and crash out and just get right back to it the next day. And everyone was just up for the challenge. It was really, it was pretty fantastic to see.
One of the most amazing things about the film and the play, you could have written this play yesterday. That's also a sad state of affairs too.
Yeah.
About the relevancy of the piece today.
Yeah, that sad is the right word, because when the play came out in 2013, a lot of the articles written about it said it's so timely. If you don't remember the Trayvon Martin thing, the George Zimmerman got off for that, like, that happened in the middle of our first run. When it ran in Baltimore, the Freddie Gray thing happened. It felt like every place it was running, there was social upheaval going on that the play seemed to speak to. And it gives people the idea that it was reactionary, which it never was meant to be. It was always meant to be, the conversations that these guys have are conversations that have happened in the Black community since long before them, and they've unfortunately still been happening to this day. And I guess I had to kind of step back and think about it. And it's like, why are we still having to have these conversations about what our social responsibility is when you're Black and you're a public figure, or you're Black and you're an artist. And the reason the conversations are so ever present is because these challenges do still remain.
Okay, let's talk about the biggest pinch me moments for you on the set. I mean, what were they for you?
I think when Leslie sang "A Change Is Gonna Come," because he actually did sing it. Like even though we recorded him singing it, when we recorded the scene on the Tonight Show set with the extras as the audience, he sang it in his natural, and it was pretty emotional, pretty emotional moment to be there for it, because it's the culmination of the film. It's also the culmination of the play, but it's quite different. In the play, it's an a cappella moment in the room where they're alone. It's not like and so it has a completely different vibe. And even though the whole cross-cutting montage wasn't evident in that moment when we were recording it, we just heard the song sung straight through. And you could see like the extras in the audience, like their applause they applauded at the end of it like they had just seen a special show. The irony being, we actually removed the applause from the sound at the end to make it a moment of silence. But the extras were actually just like blown away. Everyone was by what Leslie did in that moment. That was a pinch me moment.
Okay, he also got to write a song to close out the movie, of course, Let's talk about it. Speak Low, right?
Speak Now.
Speak Now. Let's just talk about that, how important that is to the film.
It really is. I mean, if anything, I would have hated to have been in Leslie's shoes to know that, like, right after he's finished singing "A Change Is Gonna Come," we're going to be playing another song that's his original that he wrote with Sam Ashworth. But and that didn't even really start until after the film wrapped. So I remember I think he either recorded 3, maybe 4 original songs, and that was one of them. And he sent all of them to us. And we all agreed that Speak Now definitely jumped out as like tonally the perfect bookend to A Change Is Gonna Come to run over the end credits. And it's such a lovely song. I mean, when I first heard it, I thought it was really nice, but then when we put it in the film and we watched it and heard it over the credits, it just took on like a whole other meaning coming right after Malcolm X's quotes. It was just like all of a sudden we were emotional.
My final question is, we're almost out of time. If you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on the film, what was it for you, Kemp?
The best part of the experience working on the film, honestly, was seeing it completed. I couldn't have imagined 6-7 years ago being here with this group of people with a completed film that so seemed like something that was like straight out of my imagination. To see it actually here and out in the world is pretty great.
Ready for tonight? I'm as ready as a person can be. After the fight, we're all coming back here for the champ's victory party. Don't be late.
Minister Malcolm X. Good news, the chariot is coming.
You know I'm the greatest. That's right.
Jim Brown takes the ball.
Your record is gonna stand the test of time.
How's everybody feeling tonight?
All together, yeah.
New heavyweight champion of the world.
Say, champ, you don't suppose you could sign an autograph?
Yeah, of course, man. Give him an autograph, Jim.
Actually, Mr. Cook.
Oh, sure thing, brother.
Oh, yeah, that's the sound.
Don't you think it's about time to party?
Tonight is a chance for us to reflect.
You mean no one else is coming? Well, this is off to a hopping start.
You all are a bright and shining future. You need to understand what is at stake here.
Everything's not so black and white like you make it out to be.
But we are fighting for our lives.
You know I know what's going on out there, right?
Listen, listen. Brothers and sisters, listen, listen, listen.
Miami, the champ!
I swear we'll never find a way to where we're going all alone.
The goal is for us to really be free.
When you hear the bells ring out,
We want a world
speak now,
where we're safe to be ourselves.
speak now. I told him. Can you hear the angels cry out?
To think like we want.
Speak now.
without having to answer to anybody for it. We have to be there for each other.
Who's the greatest?
You brothers could move mountains without lifting a finger.